All right, these are the things that most people make a mistake on in the tango, all right? It's really important that you pay attention. I'm gonna talk about the ladies' feet first, then the man, then something as a couple. How do you know you're in good promenade position? This is where people bomb all the time. Okay, now, first thing is, ladies, when you do your link, the thing that was drilled into me as a teacher is to make sure that you, as a dancer first, not a teacher first, right? Was that as I go back, between step 1 and 2 here, where my heel lowers, and it must lower, as that lowers, I create a turn on the ball of the right foot. So you actually turn on that leg. This is important, all right? So when you go back on the right foot, make sure you create the turn as that heel lowers. And then as that happens, you can take your second step on that inside edge of the ball and then the heel, and then release that heel off the floor, okay? Now, important, right? That is hard to do, but it's something you can do if you just practice and you're aware of it, right? So you're going back and you're creating that turn on the ball of the foot, and then you can go into promenade position. Now, number 2, gentlemen, with your shoulders, right, the right side. So when you go into promenade position, and often, I'll get into the right angle here, often you can see from the back, the man's shoulder will create a line like this, right? See how it's sort of like popping through? And that's because of the sides of the body, right? So often what we want to feel, I call it being a glove. You want to make sure when you do your link, gentlemen, your job is to put the lady into an amazing promenade position, okay? Not average, amazing. So how does that happen? As you take step 2, where you go to the side and slightly back, make sure that right shoulder comes back with it, okay? The right side. Because then your left side comes to the lady and you're square to her. Now, another tip is, which we'll get into in a second with promenade, right, is to make sure that the lady stays in your right pocket, okay? So here. So that's why I'm not a fan of being too aggressive on this step, nor taking big movements, because the job here is to make sure that you stay connected and you create a nice, strong, powerful movement as a couple. And of course, you put the lady into a good promenade position. So the ladies, you turn through the ball, then the heel. Then gentlemen, you make sure your right side comes around. Now, obviously, always make sure if you do too much or too less, your arms can droop. So it is important that your frame always remains the same. Now, the third thing, this is key. Thank you for staying with me. This is like the most important part of tango to really understand is promenade, because there's, you know, at least 13 methods to get into promenade position. And it doesn't matter how you get into it. This is the problem for it all. So if we do a link, or if we do a natural twist turn, or we do something that that's complicated, that gets us into promenade, here are some fundamental issues. People's toes, right? They're going up on the tippy toe. I don't know, this is a very modern development, obviously, but this action, right, combined, I'm going to tell you why I think this is not good. But first of all, it's an ugly ass line, right? What the hell is attractive? This is not Latin, ladies and gentlemen, right? I love Latin. I'm a Latin dancer, but do not do this, yeah? Now, why? Well, because your hip goes up, all right? Your hip goes up. Now, what that might cause you to do to counterbalance that is to sit in your ass. Like, this happens all the time. It's like, I love tango. No, you look terrible. What are you doing? Get out of your ass, right? And so what you want to do is make sure that when you take promenade positions, here's what I was told by the greats of dance, okay? I, myself, average. I love dancing, I love teaching, I love technique, that's my lane. But the top dancers in the world, the people that shaped our modern day ballroom dancing, the #1 people in dancing, this is what they always said. When you do a link, your steps aren't big. Now, what you have to know is that your knees can touch without you losing height, okay? Knees can touch without you losing height. So if you're out here, and your knees do this, you now have too big a step. Now, the other problem is that if you do have too big a base, what happens out of promenade should always be a strong step on a slow, or whatever the following figure may be, right? Typically, it's a slow, right? You go quick, quick, then a slow into the next figure. Now, what happens if you have a big base? You end up creating flight, right? Normally, sometimes, you can also create a push out of your legs, which is a very weird way to dance tango. So if I have a smaller base, right, a more compact base, when I go to move, right, that first step can be very strong. See the difference, right? So I can make my quick, quick, and then slow, quick, and I can create the power. If I'm taking big base, high toe, right, because I'm watching YouTube too much, I'm like, this is how tango should look, right? And then what? My step, look how limited it is, right? I can't actually get onto it. There's a video I made on the weight principles of tango. Please watch it. It's the 80-20 rule. You have to understand this to dance well. So tango is not a moving dance. It's not a moving dance, okay? Just remember that. Now, what are we doing in promenade? Together as a couple, we know our positions of the feet and body. The knees can't touch. What else is important? Here is a way you know you're in a good promenade position, okay? Beside the lady being on your right side, it is also that your feet are parallel. Now, if you have a look at here in the camera, right? That's parallel, my feet are together. Now, if I'm in a promenade position, my feet are still parallel, you see that? Now, often you'll notice, you like my ankles, right? I'm wearing my black socks just for this, right? So if I'm a lady, right? I'll try to be a good lady today. So if I step back there, ball, then heel, that's where I'm turning, right? And I take my second step. Watch what happens here as I stay in frame. So I want to make sure that this leg, this is what often ladies do. See how it's now square and this foot goes up? Now this angle will sort of demonstrate how, there we go, right, okay, so see this? Now this is a problem because now my feet are open and my legs are open, all right? So I want to make sure that my thighs and my feet remain parallel no matter what promenade position I go into. I hope this makes sense because this is a common problem. So ladies will go there, do their turn, and then that foot will remain in this position behind the man, all right? So if I shift around, you can see this is not a good look. So the feet being open. The knees then open outwards, and you're going to create a very ugly look. So although it looks underdone in my demonstration, I don't care. That's how it should look. That's a progressive link. And Anthony Hurley, I remember him saying to me, this step is not used by many competitors. And guess what he did the first time I had a lesson with him? And this happened with Marcus Hilton, Janet Gleave, Anne Gleave, Richard Gleave, anyone else I can think of that's like of giant names in the dance. Well, if you don't know who they are, it's okay. They are like, woo, the bigwigs. Well, they asked me 2 walks, a link, and then a closed promenade. That's it. They didn't want to see my routine. They want to see the basic movements done properly because those links are avoided by a lot of people. Not promenade position, the actual progressive link we're learning today. It's avoided by a lot of couples because they just do it poorly because it's easier to do fancy choreography than basics well. So keep it in mind that it's 2 simple steps, but it's actually quite difficult to nail because of the promenade positions and the rules I just gave you, all right? Knowing where your body is. Now, you might see the look, I dance very classically. I'm not really into a lot of the modern fancy stuff of trying to get a really high line. I don't think it produces good movement. I think half the time people are actually swinging in the dances when they shouldn't be swinging. You should be stepping and stopping or creating legato rhythm or staccato rhythm, obviously, but you shouldn't be creating flight. And that's one of the big issues I noticed with dancing. So I don't want you to have that. I want you to have short, punchy, powerful movements, whoop-ba, right? And then slow, and then create your moves, ba, 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 with sound effects. Okay, thank you for being here. It's awesome to have you. My name is Vaughan. Welcome to the channel. Thank you. Let's rock it out. Visit ballroommastery.tv for more awesome training.